On the line with us, Lamar Waldron. Lamar and I wrote Legacy of Secrecy and Ultimate Sacrifice. And Abraham Bolden, who wrote the book The Echo from Dealey Plaza, his website, echofromdealeyplaza.net. The motorcade in Chicago, the Kennedy motorcade, had been canceled because the Secret Service, as Mr. Bolden told you just a moment ago, had been notified that there was going to be an attempt to assassinate the president in Chicago. John and Bobby Kennedy worked to keep the reason for the cancellation of the motorcade out of the press. They didn't want to give people any ideas and didn't want that kind of press. The Cubans who were involved were, by the way, not Castro agents. They were Cuban exiles, part of the Cuban exile community. Abraham Bolden, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Tom.
And Lamar, you're still with us, right?
Right, still here, Tom.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Bolden, what happened when you tried to tell the Warren Commission that after the murder of Jack Kennedy in Dallas, that there had been an attempt on his life, apparently planned for just a few weeks before the Dallas actual assassination, but this one was planned for Chicago, and you guys helped stop it.
Yes, that's right. Now, what happened? What alerted me? I was in the Chicago office as an agent, and I saw the special agent in charges and different agents who were destroying files. They were bungling up files, and they were concealing a lot of things that were going on concerning the investigation. And one thing that was very troubling to me was the Echeverry investigation, which commenced on about October the 27th. And I saw a report where it was updated to make the investigation have commenced after the president was assassinated. So I knew that a cover-up was in process. So I wanted to go to the Warren Commission and let them know about this. And little did I know that the Warren Commission had already made up their minds that Oswald had to be the fall guy on this. But anyway, I went to Washington, D.C. with the intention of contacting J. Lee Rankin, who was the counsel for the Warren Commission, and going before them and letting them know what I knew about the Chicago angle. Well, I was in Washington, D.C. all of one day, and I was whisked out of Washington, D.C. on a ruse. They lied to me and said I was needed back in Chicago. Now, when they got me back in Chicago, they took two criminals. One of them had syndicate connections, Joseph Spagnoli, had syndicate connections.
Mob connections.
Mob connections, that's right. And they commenced to charge me with trying to sell a document which I did not have, a government document file which I did not have, and they knew that I did not have. So to make a long story short, what they did, they convicted me of soliciting a bribe, and even though Joseph Spagnoli finally had to admit that he committed perjury in my trial, and the United States attorney took the Fifth Amendment as to whether or not the case was made up against me, they sent me to prison anyway. Wow. And so I went to prison, and I spent 3 years and 3 months, and while I was there, they made an overt attempt to declare me insane.
So that your attempt to testify to the Warren Commission, or any statements you might make about your knowledge of there being an attempt against the life of Jack Kennedy just a few weeks before the Dallas situation in Chicago where you were, would be discredited, and B, so your statements about how the Secret Service was shredding documents and covering this thing up in the Chicago office would be discredited, I'm assuming.
Yes, that's right. That's what they had in mind, and they so much stated that to me while I was away, and they were trying to declare me insane. But these people who want to take over our government by assassinations and by fiats and by different types of things that are contrary to the Constitution of the United States have to understand that there are people like me who are willing to die for the democracy that we have. They have to understand that their chicanery and their planning and things are not going to work against all the people in America. You see, we have people in foreign countries who are dying over there to protect this democracy. And we have to do our part. We have to do our share in bringing to light any and all information that we know to make sure that our democracy remains viable.
We're talking with Abraham Bolden. His book, echofromdealeyplaza.net, is the website. It's the Echo from Dealey Plaza. Dealey is spelled, by the way, D-E-A-L-E-Y. And the first African-American Secret Service agent to be part of the presidential detail, personally hand-selected by JFK. And when he tried to tell the Warren Commission what he knew about an attempt to kill Kennedy a few weeks before the Dallas hit in Chicago, an attempt in Chicago, he was, well, you just heard the story. He got whisked off to prison, basically, shut up, and now